Hey guys, for those of you that are new to iOS programming, I'm just going to be creating a simple app in this video. This will be for those of you out there who are just starting out. So I'm launching XCode here and I'm running version 8.2, so I'm just going to create a new XCode project. I'm going to create a new single view application and I'm going to call this test app. I'm going to click next and then I'm going to save it. So when you launch XCode, on the left pane you're going to see that the top level is selected here, and here you can control the finer details of how the app runs. But the place we'll go now is we'll go to main.storyboard. So main.storyboard shows you what the user sees when the app is launched. So if I was to launch this app, you would just see a white window, and we'll just wait for this to complete, and then you'll see that it's just a blank white window. Okay, so now that it's loaded, there's nothing in the app, so all you see is a white window here. So let's go ahead and start adding some UI elements to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a text field, and let's put that in the center, and let's drag it to each side. And then let's drag two buttons as well. Okay, this one I'm going to call add text, and this one I'm going to call clear text. So I've added the UI elements onto the actual screen, but I don't have a way of interacting with the buttons. I need to add what are called IB actions, so that when I click on the button, it takes some action. And I also need to add an IB outlet so that I can actually interact with this text field. So what you do next is you click on the assistant editor. That will show you your user interface on one side and your code on the other. So on the side where the code is, I'm just going to enter some blank lines, and I'm going to create an IB action for each button. So you click on the button, hold down the control key, and then drag over to the code. From the connection type, you're going to change that to action, and you're going to change the name to button add text, and you're going to change the type to UI button. The event touch up inside just means you're clicking up and inside the button. And then you're going to click connect, and then here it will create the IB action. You can also see that it created the IB action by clicking on the button and then looking in the right side of the screen here. So if you look in the connections inspector, you'll see that the touch up inside event is connected to the button add text function, which is what we just did here. So now let's do the same thing with the clear text button. So we're going to change the connection type to action. We're going to change this to button clear text. And we're going to change the type to a UI button. Okay, so that adds an IB action for each button, but we also need to add something for this text field so that we can write to it. But we don't need to add an IB action for the text field. We need to add what's called an IB outlet, because we actually need to be able to manipulate that UI element. So here I'm creating an outlet and I'm calling it text field. So now that we have the two IB actions created and the IB outlet, now we can write our code. So when the button add text function is called, I want to write some text into the text field. Okay, and when the clear text button is run, I want to clear the text that's in the text field. So if I were to run this, so you see here, you see the text field is cut off here. So that's because we didn't use auto layout to pin the UI elements in certain positions. So I'll create another video about that later, but for now just disregard that. So if I click add text, it's going to write the text to the text field. If I click clear text, it's going to remove it. And I can just go back and forth. So here we've created a simple app with a text field and 2 buttons. If you have any further questions, please let me know. Thanks.